House is promising a hands-off approach when it comes to regulating artificial intelligence. It hosted a summit on Thursday with Google, Amazon, and Facebook. Google's latest AI invention is making some people, including me, a little nervous. This is the scene. You need to book a hair appointment. Yes, you do, between 10 and 12. The salon doesn't have online booking system, just a phone number. So let's have Google's robot make the call. You won't believe this. Take a listen.
So how can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around?
At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a woman's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
God, remember, that's a robot making that phone call. I actually think the human being sounded more like a robot than the robot. Oh, my goodness. Shelley Palmer is here. You were here in the flesh. Thank goodness.
Yes,
Listen,
all me.
Somebody alerted me to do a column that you wrote like 2 years ago, practically predicting this. What's it all about?
Yeah, well, look, there are tremendous advances in automatic speech recognition and artificial intelligence. And Google just displayed the other day their tour de force in fooling people into thinking they're listening to people. When Alexa started a couple years ago, the first thing that occurred to me was, do we need to train our children to say thank you to Alexa? Because at a certain point in the future, which is the column you're talking about at shelleypalmer.com, they're not going to be able to tell whether the disembodied voice is a person or a robot, and we don't want to train little kids to be rude when they grow up. Well, Google's taken this to a whole step further. There is a concept called disfluencies. When you're collecting your thoughts, when you speak, like you try not to do that on camera.
Oh, disfluency. Oh, no, I do it all the time on camera, but I get it.
But when you gather your thoughts, and so they've got the robots doing that now, plus inflection. They're using a thing called Tacotron 2, which you can look up on. That's the latest iteration of this particular tool set that creates the voice. It's extraordinary. And it's not out yet, but get ready for a time, an absolute time, when you will not be able to tell the difference between a robot voice and a person's voice, or whether or not you're speaking to a robot. And here's a cool part. Do you remember the original Star Trek, Episode 4, A New Hope, C-3PO and R2-D2?
Yeah.
The first time C-3PO introduces himself, he goes, I am C-3PO, human-cyborg relations. And I thought that was prescient because the stormtroopers were in full costumes too. How do you know C-3PO is a robot unless he announces that he is? How will you know this voice is a robot unless it announces that it is? Hi, you're speaking to an AI assistant is going to be something we're going to need, in fact, insist on, because you literally will not be able to tell.
So full disclosure right up front. Now, I know you are an early adopter of a lot of this kind of stuff. Can you kind of fashion for us what this will mean in our lives? You know, a lot of people are kind of unsure as to whether or not this will be a good thing. It'll save us time, but how will it actually work?
It's going to reduce cost in customer service. Everybody's dealt with voicemail trees, the interactive voicemails that we all kind of dislike because they're robotic voices. Your balance drives you crazy. So at the very least, those automated voices will be better. Truly, the AI assist, you have to separate these systems. The system that speaks is very different from the system that's going to process what it's talking to you about. Both of these things are coming up at an exponential rate. And so it's hard to separate them and say, where does a disembodied voice's capability set end and where does what we need the system to do begin? I need to make that appointment. So is it going to suggest a better time for me? Is it going to look at my schedule and know, like, what is the best way? In a business environment, forgetting a consumer environment, just inside your own corporation where you don't have any of the creep factor or the permissions, is that a great way to speed up efficiency and productivity? So these are all good questions.
We shall see. Well, I'll tell you what, Shelley Palmer, thanks for being with us. This is Quest Means Business. I'm Paula Newton. Richard will be back here tomorrow night. We'll see what he thinks.